Learned since I have been playing with converting all of my activities to digital is that you can assign the same Google slideshow to a group of students so that they can collaborate and play together. So most of my MathCut activities can be assigned to an individual student, and they could work it as an extension of whatever they were doing in class. So if you had students doing the physical materials activity in class as a group, then you could have them go back through it individually as part of their homework to extend whatever was happening in class, or just make sure that everybody in the group got the point of the activity, and to hold everybody accountable on their own. So, but it came up. I have a few activities that are really designed to be games, and Find Four is an example of that because it is like Connect Four game. And so, one of the things that I learned about was how you can assign things in Google Classroom. Of course, I don't personally have a classroom at this time, but I did set up a classroom in Google so that I could see what the teachers look like and see what the students see as well when they're in Google Classroom. So what I've done here is gone into my classroom and I've set up a new assignment for this particular game that I've been creating on ellipses. So when you're assigning something in Google Classroom, you're going to set up your title, of course, your instructions, and if you want to assign it for points, you can. You can make multiple copies in your Google Drive file and assign different copies to specific students or groups of students, because you maybe want to differentiate what slides you're presenting to each student, or maybe you want to reduce the number of problems for certain groups of students and whatnot. So in this case, if I were assigning this particular activity to groups of students, I want to create enough copies for the number of groups. So if I have 5 groups that are playing, then I need 5 copies, and I'm going to name each copy of the activity based around the group name. So I might say it's a Find Four ellipses group 1, Find Four ellipses group 2, and I'm going to create a separate copy for each group, and then I'm going to create a title as well. So I can just call it the same thing in the title, Find Four ellipses group 1, group 2, and so forth. And I'm going to attach the copy that's specific to the group to this assignment. And I'm just going to click add, and I'm going to find it in my Google Drive. Now in this case, I haven't made all of those extra copies, but you might find them there. So here's the one I want to attach. And then notice there's a drop down here next to the file, and it says students can view. And if I click it, I can get students can edit or make a copy for each student. So if I were assigning something that I wanted each student to do by themselves individually and not part of a group. So one of my regular activities where we've done it as a group in class, but I want them to go back through it by themselves as part of their homework assignment, I'm going to always choose make a copy for each student in those cases, because it's going to force a unique copy for everybody. They can't edit the master file. They can't mess it up for other students that way. And it also automatically creates a copy that has that student's name in the title, so that when they're finished and they submit their assignment, it already has their name in the title, and I don't have to play guesswork about who turned in what. So that's what I would do if this were going to be assigned to one student individually. In this case, because it's a group assignment, I want them to be able to play together, and they can play synchronously, so they can all be in the slideshow at the same time, or they can play asynchronously. And when they're playing asynchronously, they can just take turns and do it on their own time, and then they can email each other to let each other know when it's time to go. For example, if I'm in the file and I'm playing, and here's our current problem card, and we're trying to solve this and find the equation, then I can, when I'm done, or if I'm the last one, or if I'm just like somebody is not done what they need to do, I can go to file, and down here I can go to email collaborators, and that allows me to send an email through their Google email address, or whatever is assigned to them in Google Classroom, prompting them that they need to do something in the file. So they can play asynchronously that way as well. But I'm going to go back to my assignment here. And I'm going to choose, because it's a group and I want them to be able to play synchronously together at the same time, I'm going to choose students can edit file. And that allows all of the group members to be able to edit that file or be working in that file at the same time. Now, I've been really careful in my file as I created it. I'm going to go back here. The things that are changeable, so the things that kids could sabotage, I suppose, if they really wanted to, are the text boxes that have the directions on there, although they probably wouldn't bother. On the actual game board slides, again, this is just information for them. They can't actually change the board itself. They can't get rid of anything. If they accidentally deleted one of their chips, they could make another copy of them, but it's not really going to be a problem. They could delete the problem cards, I suppose, but I don't have any other way around that. We're just going to have to hope that they act like responsible individuals, right? So I'm going to go back to my assignment here. Oops, here's my assignment. And so now I'm going to choose students can edit the file, and that allows all of the students in that group to edit the file at once. And then if I were assigning this to a group of students, let's say this game is designed for 3 players total. I only have 3 game boards in there. So I would go, instead of all students who the activity is for, and so, I've chosen my section, so first period, second period, whatever. And then instead of all students, I'm going to use this drop down box, and it's going to pull me a list of all students. And so I can click on all students, or I can go in and I can select the individual students. Now, I only have 2 students listed in my classroom because it's me and my kiddo, because those are the email addresses I can control. But you could just choose to pick one, or you could pick 3 specific students in your list, and those are the students that are in group 1. And then for the next assignment, you could choose group 2, and you could pick 3 different students for that particular file, and so on. And then, of course, you can set your specifics here. I can create a topic that this is going to go under, like Connex. I can create a due date. That's the date at which they have to have finished playing their games, and you'll notice that I've asked them to play at least 5 rounds, and they're going to be recording their work on paper, and I've asked them to insert a picture of it, insert a picture of their work before they submit their work in Google Classroom. So that's how you can set up for group work so that your kids can still be doing the same kinds of group activities. And this works for anything that you want students to be able to do together in a Google slide or any kind of Google presentation. And that's it. And you just choose Assign, and it's going to send that out to those students. And that's all.